The Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has told the US President Donald Trump his country is not for sale during a high-stakes meeting at the Oval Office. Our North America correspondent Lauren Day joins us from Washington. Lauren, that really feels like a statement of the bleeding obvious, but there was a bit riding on this first meeting. What was the mood like between the pair?
Yeah, that's right, James. There were a lot of eyes on this meeting because it obviously comes at a time of historic tensions between the US and Canada, and also on the back of this election that Mark Carney just won on an anti-Trump campaign. And Donald Trump even joked about this in the White House. He said, I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him. And he really heaped praise on the Canadian Prime Minister, which is a real departure from the way that he used to speak about his predecessor, Justin Trudeau. He said that he was a great man, that this was one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. Now, these kind of meetings have become a bit of a fixture of the Trump presidency, and world leaders really have to play this quite delicate game where they have to, push back on some of Donald Trump's rhetoric while also trying not to antagonise him. And Mark Carney played this game pretty well. He was friendly but firm, and the mood in the room was quite warm until, of course, it turned to this inevitable topic of Donald Trump's desire to make Canada the 51st state of America. Here's how that played out.
When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person. But when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
There are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Now, Donald Trump replied by saying, never say never, but that's exactly what Mark Carney was saying. He said, respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change. Now, the pair also talked about trade. Donald Trump dug his heels in again about his trade policy, his tariff policy, saying that there was nothing the Canadian Prime Minister could say to have him lift those tariffs. He was also questioned about his trade deals more generally. Of course, the Trump administration has announced this pause on the reciprocal tariffs so they could negotiate some trade deals. They're yet to announce a single deal. But when Donald Trump was asked about that today, he said, we don't have to sign deals. We could sign 25 deals right now if we wanted. They have to sign deals with us, suggesting the pressure was on other countries because the US was the more valuable trading partner. So they're going to wait for other countries to come to them with proposals. That's a bit of a departure from what we've heard previously from his administration. The trade advisor, Peter Navarro, has previously said they were chasing 90 deals in 90 days. And even today, his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said that they were negotiating with 17 trading partners and they could announce their first trade deals as soon as this week. So once again, mixed messages on this very messy trade policy.